If you expect nothing from somebody, you're never disappointed. Sylvia Plath wrote in her autobiographical novel, The Bell Jar. It's easier said than done, but expectations you have from people and from yourself only lead to heartache and misery. And so, once upon a time, Richard Brenner was awarded the Tacticus Award for Outstanding Achievement in Law. At the award ceremony held last night, he did not even mention your name in his thank you speech. As someone who mentored him and set him up as a lawyer in this cutthroat city, how does that feel? This lack of gratitude. The voice of the journalist asked Malcolm Mayer. Malcolm took a deep breath and tried to look for the words, but they failed him. Years of court battles had taught him that when in doubt, say nothing. I'm sorry, I'm in a meeting, but I would be happy to talk to you after office hours, Malcolm obfuscated. The journalist promised to call back and hung off. Malcolm could feel a huge weight on his chest, like someone was physically pressing on it. He was hurt, very hurt. Richard was just a paralegal in his firm all those years ago. Malcolm had seen a bright mind and sincerity in the boy. He asked Richard to stop working and start studying for the bar. In that 1 year that Richard did not work, Malcolm paid for everything, from his rent to his food. Malcolm was right. Richard passed the bar with flying colors and turned out to be a bright lawyer. Malcolm was one of the biggest lawyers in the city, and any ambitious lawyer would have killed to be his assistant, but Malcolm did not give the spot to anyone. In his heart and mind, he always saw Richard as his assistant. And in the years to come, he saw Richard's name on his letterhead with his name, Mayer and Brenner. That was his dream. It was Richard's birthday, and Malcolm took him out for a drink. Over the second bourbon, Malcolm offered Richard to be his partner, to have his name with his on his law firm. Richard did not look happy. Instead, he asked for a day to think about it. Malcolm found that odd. He thought Richard would jump at it. Anyone would have, but Malcolm decided to think little of it. Richard had the right to choose, after all. The next day, Richard told Malcolm that he wanted to start a firm on his own. I work best alone. That is something I've realized. Malcolm felt a stab in his heart, but also knew that every man had a right to make his destiny. He blessed Richard on his new venture and even offered to help. Malcolm parted with a few high-value clients so that Richard could have a good start on his firm. Well begun is half done, boy, Malcolm said with a pat on Richard's back. Richard had readily accepted the clients. As the years went by, Malcolm saw Richard doing really well for himself. But he also saw that the phone calls from Richard became less. The Christmas wishes and Thanksgiving phone calls ceased as well. And then the award function, where Malcolm learned in the cruelest fashion that Richard had not even a thank you for him. Malcolm found it difficult to sit in his office chamber, his hurt turning into a rage. He had to teach Richard a lesson. He had to make sure that Richard knew that even dogs had gratitude. He had to put Richard in his place. And Malcolm was still the cat in the game of rats. It was time to take a rat apart. Malcolm walked out of his office and then onto the park that spread adjacent to his office building. The day was gray. A crispy breeze blew in from the north. Malcolm sat himself down on the park bench. This was his strategy place. He had sat there on many occasions, making strategies to tear the opposition apart, and all those strategies had worked. How does one destroy another lawyer? Malcolm thought. He had to start by making him look ungrateful, which was not tough because Richard was ungrateful. He would speak with that journalist in the evening and give an interview that would make Richard look mean and selfish. Next, he had to destroy his reputation as a lawyer. He knew that all lawyers played around with the law to get their way in court, but most of them crossed the line between legal and illegal, and Malcolm would have to catch him crossing that line. Slowly, a plan to destroy Richard began to take shape in Malcolm's mind. This was going to be fun. It would help heal the wounds that Richard had given him over the years. He wondered who coined the term ungrateful dog when it was humans who were ungrateful. He felt better about everything and decided to spend some more time sitting on the bench, feeling the breeze and the scant sun. In front of him, he saw a toddler playing with the father. The toddler walked a bit and then fell. His father gave him a hand. The toddler stood up, walked a bit, fell again. It was a very moving game to watch. The father and son both seemed to enjoy it. Malcolm had no clue why the tears began to flow from his eyes. He had no clue why the tears turned into a sobbing. The father and son stopped playing the game and looked at him. Malcolm closed his eyes to understand what the tears were telling him. Gratitude was not a right. You could not demand gratitude. You either got it or you did not. It was not up to you, but it was up to the person who you think you had helped. The father could not demand gratitude from the toddler for teaching him how to walk. The need for gratitude could not be a cage where you could trap someone. Gratitude had to be the need of the other's soul. Feeling gratitude meant that you had to realize that others aided your journey, and to realize that, you have to first understand that you are not the be-all and end-all of everything. Richard would get there one day, if he did at all. It had to be Richard's journey, not his. His journey was to pick up another Richard, working as a paralegal somewhere. Malcolm opened his eyes and smiled. The sun peeped from behind a cloud and bathed Malcolm in its golden hue. He walked up to the father and thanked him. The father, of course, had no idea for what he was being thanked. He took his cell phone out from his pocket and wrote a message to Richard. Congratulations on your award. May you soar higher and attain new heights. Love,